So I think what the people who espouse the idea of a law of Christ is that Christ comes, does away with the law, and sets up the law of Christ, which is the law under grace. This is the idea. Right. Now, Rob's absolutely right. I don't have a quote of Mike saying this, so I don't want to say that Mike even said this. But there are people who say that Christians are to keep the law of Christ.
Well, I would agree.
Yeah, exactly. I would agree too.
I fully agree. But we're still, yeah.
Yeah. I think that Rob and I are going to agree that the law of Christ is the Torah, right?
It's the fullness of the Torah. It's the reading and understand, back to our 2 Corinthians 3 passage. It's reading the ancient covenant, but not with the veil over our hearts, because we're turned to the Lord, because our hearts are turned to the Lord. And so we see, just like we just read from Luke 24, where Yeshua says, this is what's written about me. In the Gospel of John tells us, I think it's at the end of chapter 5, he says, if you really believed Moses, you'd believe me.
Right.
If you really believed Moses, you would believe me because he wrote about me. Okay, so Yeshua is affirming not, I know Moses said that, but you got to forget that, because I'm the new kid in town and I've got a new Torah, to give.
I think the want by those teachers, and you got people like the guys down at Apologia Studio, they would say, no. The law of God is Christ's law. They just believe in different applications for certain laws. So the point of the idea, I think, for those who teach the law of Christ over the law of God, quote unquote, I don't know if that's the actual terms that are used, is the idea that Christ needs to give us, easier laws to follow. In other words, there's...
Oh, right. Okay, so there's easier, or those, that's one excuse, right? Easier, or it could be, those were for Israel,
right?
And the church is a new thing.
Yeah, exactly. And so gotcha. The church's laws are Christ's laws. With the modern idea of, since I'm not super familiar with the concept of, I might be misrepresenting the idea of law of Christ, different than what certain teachers are going to represent law of Christ as. But my point is God has one law. There's one law for Jew and Gentile. Christ upheld it. Christ taught it. Matthew 5:17 and following, I think that's probably one of the reasons that Matthew 5:17 through, I think it's 21, is quoted so much by the Hebrew roots in the Messianic circles, is because there's really no good response to it from those in Christianity who try to explain it away. In other words, Yeshua says it's forever. Yeshua says whoever doesn't keep it is least in the kingdom of heaven. Whoever upholds it is great in the kingdom of heaven. It's really hard to try to explain this.
Romans 7, is it Romans 7? He says the law is holy, the commandment is holy and just and good.
Yeah. All of Romans talks about the law being good. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking the subscribe button and check out more videos from Messiah Matters.